Men, their rights and nothing more. Women, their rights and nothing less. This righteous quote came from the lips of an intelligent, driven woman. Some people may have heard of Susan B. Anthony, but most don't know of all the passionate work that she accomplished in her lifetime. Born in 1820 in the state of Massachusetts to a Quaker family, Susan was raised with a mind and heart for justice and morality. There was one particular event and acquaintance that moved her to fight for women's rights. Her friend Elizabeth Cady Stanton, in an event in which she was not allowed to participate in because of her sex, pushed her to work for what she believed in. In the year of 1852, Susan decided to join the women's rights movement and cooperated in women's suffrage. To make it clear, women's suffrage means the right of women to vote and run for office. All of the information I bring to you today is from the website susanbanthonyhouse.org, last updated in 2009. Susan B. Anthony is a woman we should pay great homage to. Today we'd like to educate the audience on the history of Susan B. Anthony, why we chose her as our grand speaker, and the significance of one of her speeches. We would also like to share why she inspired us and demonstrate speaking skills that Susan presented. First of all, I will begin by addressing why we chose Susan as our speaker. Susan B. Anthony worked arduously throughout her life to accomplish her goals. Susan not only dedicated her life to fighting for women's rights, but she also spoke out about her feelings on slavery. In 1856, Susan became an agent for the American Anti-Slavery Society. She and members alike joined together to protest the ways that African American slaves were being treated. They also fought for black women's suffrage and African American citizenship. Not only was Susan an abolitionist, she was an educational reformer, a labor activist, a temperance worker, a suffragist, and a women's rights campaigner. It is quite obvious that this woman was an outstanding giving member of society, seeking equality for herself and others. Now that we are aware of some of Susan's work, I will explain why we chose her. Clearly, this woman lived her life to the fullest, dedicating her time and energy for the outcome of change. There are a couple of reasons why we chose her as our speaker. First of all, Susan traveled across America and to Europe, in which she gave nearly 100 speeches every year for about 45 years. Because of Susan's affiliation with public speaking, we thought she would be a great candidate for our choice. In her early years of activism, Susan feared public speaking like most of us. After some time, she acquired the talent and skills necessary to help persuade audiences with her speeches, since her goals of achieving equality required public speaking. Look at the change one person could cause just by overcoming their fears. Secondly, from early childhood on, Susan detected the harsh inequality between men and women in her country. We see Susan as a leader, not a follower, because of her ideas and her bravery. We feel that we need to refresh everyone's memory of her legacy and remind everyone that she made history for men and women. If it weren't for Susan B. Anthony, it's possible that I and the other females in this classroom would not be able to take this class. Now I will let Jovan speak about Susan's speech and her skills that apply to what we have learned.
For second point, main point, the meaning of speech. The exposition of thoughts, feelings, or beliefs, or ideas is what a speech was for Susan Anthony. She used some or a lot of persuasive speeches to convince that listeners and persuade them to change their point of view and mind. To take in account some elements that had not really been considered before, she was always looking for the agreement of people. Susan would use their credibility and speak and her position to what she was speaking about. Nowadays, we many know some famous people that had been there and had been famous speakers. People like Martin Luther King, who said, "I have a dream." Winston Churchill, "We should all fight on beaches." President J. Kennedy, "Man on the Moon." And now our own President Barack Obama, who was recognized for his great speech about ending the war in Iraq. Everything of this was delivered in formal spoken communication to advise or persuade an audience. For main point number 3, the concept of communication, and according to the website susanbanthony.com, she has a particular way of understanding the concept of communication. It may be the meaning of communication and common sharing of information to make something common to many import, device, etc. Speech being persuasive or informative, it is essential for life in general, not only for business, it is also for school, church, and even at home. We all share the persuasive and informative speech. Like Susan B. Anthony was a persuasive public speaker who used her speeches in consistent way to pass on a message to those who were listening to her and paying attention to her ideas, tending them to know her goals and beliefs, or what should and had to be done, and also, as all we know, and we have learned in our test about persuasive speech, even performed, and we also have even performed them in class. We're all similar to Susan Anthony in a way that we're fighting to catch a goal or a dream that it is to convince our audience and persuade them to do our beliefs.
Delivering a great speech is one thing, but delivering a truly inspirational speech is something that is completely in a different category. Susan B. Anthony possessed the skills necessary in order to not only deliver an effective and clear message, but drive it home and downright inspire you as a person and a listener. This was apparent in her speech shortly after she was accused of illegally voting in the presidential election. There are no audio or visual records of the speech. All we have to go by is what was written down and recorded for the history books. All you need to do is read the speech that she delivered on that fine day, and you can not only sense the passion and dedication in her words, but you can in many ways feel her pouring out to everyone across the country. What inspires me about the way Miss Anthony spoke is her passion, her desire, and her intensity of what she talks about, as well as what she's trying to portray. Also, if you add the fact that women did not really have much pull or say in society in those days, it makes it even more extraordinary that she was bold enough to reach out and do what she did. As you read her speech, you can't help but feel the energy in her words, as well as the tone she could have used while delivering her truest thoughts. There are few people in history that can dedicate their life towards something that truly does mean something to them. In Miss Anthony's case, she was willing to be arrested and tried for her dedication. What also motivates me about her is not only did she just talk the talk and not take action, nor did she say what she was going to do, then do it. She took matters into her own hands and did what she believed was right in order to gain and feel her independence. And once she was caught and convicted, she came out to the world and explained herself the best way she could in order to get followers and those people without voices to get behind her. She also ushered change into a time that was very white male dominated. Things were done one way and one way only. Her courage and bravery to step up and truly stand up for what she knew was wrong cannot go unnoticed by anyone who has heard her name before. Today, hundreds of people attempt to speak up or propose a plan of action to little things that affect us all, but no one has the courage to be discriminated against their whole life and then stand up to the very person that has told you that you will never amount to nothing. Being brought up, she was very well educated and knew how to handle herself and organize what she was saying. It was this education that also helped her to be the unique, equal opportunity person she was. As she gave speeches, she would use great sources such as the Constitution and refer back to the literal meanings. At a time where women weren't educated well at all, this was a remarkable feat. It showed that not only could women learn and be very smart members of society, but it was also possible for a woman to be smarter than a man and independent. What separates average people from great people is the actions we decide to make as well as the decisions we take. Today we have learned about Susan B. Anthony and her significance in history and what made her such an interesting and inspiring person to talk about. We have learned and seen her power of words and how well a little research can persuade an audience effectively throughout her speech. We learned that she believed as a person as well as her intense and extreme passion that paved the way for many new generations after her time, and they did just that. We can also see that her use of words helped her becoming an amazing persuasive speaker who could really attack one's emotions and gain people on her side. There are many things in the world you can argue against.